Crosby from the corner, twisting and turning inside out. Beautiful move, trying to get to Sonami. Holds, he shoots, he scores! Absolutely!
The pitch, high fly ball center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Goal!
Roethlisberger gives a run of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
Wow, that 10-year logo that A1 came up with. Every week I see it. Thanks, A1. He's hiding out in the control room right now. We have a KO senior, Benicio, who had to shadow my show, and he did an interview of the talking machine 10 minutes ago. And he said I answered all the questions, and I know they were correct. So that's what counts. And thanks for watching our show. We are live, Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BP TV studio, and we're in the lower level with the tornado warning in the municipal building right across from the police station. So we're very safe here. And we got Smoking Jim hunkered down. Somehow he got out of the KFC lot without any trees hitting him or lightning. And he had 2 buckets, one he saved for the ride home. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park. And we're noticing a little flickering. Did you see that? It was a little like flicker or something. So we'll see what's going on. Hope you're safe. And if you're in your basements, that's great. Stay safe. And Verizon 32 is all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between, City of Pittsburgh, etc. Thank you for all the likes on Facebook. We hit a brand new high, 6,940. So we appreciate that. And I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Smoking Jim Frazier here. Chip Hayner came back from his hiatus at work. He was overwhelmed at work. We won't talk money on the show.
We're not talking lawn care. I'm talking sports tonight.
Okay. And just as a side note, Smoking Jim's looking for the fraction of Bitcoin that he has. Chip made over 100 times what he has as a Bitcoin.
Wow.
In 2 months.
Yeah.
And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying. So watch the Bitcoin and the crypto.
We work hard down at this end.
Wow.
Well, you can't. You got to erase the we.
Wow.
Disclaimer right off the bat.
Nice.
For Tony at Chick-fil-A, who loves the disclaimers, and even Ralph likes those disclaimers. Smoking Jim's opinions are clearly his own. They're not always honest and truthful, even though he goes, "I'm an honest man," every week. So I got to disclaim it, and it's not. We don't have that opinion, nor do we have it represent Chip, myself, Nick, or the studio. And that's why I do the disclaimers. He's in his own special category. Greatest entertainer in Pittsburgh media. You need 17 people to confirm what he says. That's how bad it is. 17 I'm up to. I started at 1 to verify his statements. And when he was in the hospital for the 17th time, I asked a couple of his close friends that know him for 20 plus years, because Lee McGinnis made a quote that he thinks we've been friends for 50 years. So we appreciate it. Smoking Jim was in his diapers when I friended him. But that's what we do.
You sure they were his?
No, I am not sure. Of course, I'm a bit older than him, so it could be. And we got to introduce Nick Callis, Waynesburg U, KO, and Benicio's from KO.
Yeah.
So I even gave him a couple embellishments, and I told him.
Nepotism.
No, I told him about how I had nepotism get me a job at the Pittsburgh Press on a list called the Suns List. It was legal in 1974. I told Benicio that story, and he goes, "What would your advice be for somebody doing something like this?" I copied Nike. I said, "Do it." And he looked at me, and I go, "You can learn later." That's how simple it is. And he wants to go to Waynesburg U.
Yeah.
And I tried
Yes.
to talk to him about Gateway, and he goes, "Don't they recruit everybody?" And then I brought up about Cal U, and he goes, "I've heard some of the kids don't even go to school there."
When you sign your scholarship to Gateway U, they give you a box of crayons.
I heard they give you some cracked. They give you some cracked and broken crayons, and at Gateway they don't like to use broken crayons. Go figure. Enough about Smoking Jim. He's my man. We're gonna do some promos here, and we got A2 back from his 3-week journey on Pittsburgh Sportsline. Is take 2 with A2. Watch what he does on the camera. We'll see if he can get closer like A1 that I was showing last week. Give me the closer look. Let's see what we come up with. Look at that. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 5 minutes away, 412-831-1900. They sponsor our show with an XL pepperoni pizza and a steak hoagie cut in 6 slices. It was delicious tonight. Thanks to Frank Fanero for sponsoring our show like that. We appreciate it for the last few years. Great treat for everybody here. Tonight we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people in the studio. It's a new Pittsburgh Sportsline record.
Sportsline's where it's at when there's a tornado warning.
Yeah. So we're just hunkered down here. Luckily, Smoking Jim doesn't even understand what tornado warnings are. And we'll tell him after the show that he can't go home to Monroeville. All right. But check out Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Great Italian food. Mike made it. Rico made our pizza. He's from Puerto Rico. He made our pizza and hoagie, Smoking Jim. And it was very good. Next up, let's see, A2 on the close-up here. I got to make him work a little, folks. Not only is he good sitting in Nick's seat, but look what he does on the camera here. Look at Joey before DIPG, the brain cancer that killed him. And he died at 8 years old, just before his 9th birthday, 7 years ago. He would be 16 now and a high schooler. So what a nightmare for the family. They started the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. It's a 501c3. If you've watched previous shows, you learned how we taught Smoking Jim that if you filled out income taxes, you could actually write off your donations to 501c3s. They're called tax deductible. And I don't want to insult his intelligence anymore, so we'll just carry on. He's just smiling, so I'm worried that he didn't understand. But you can check out their events. Their biggest event is the Joey Fabus Super Warriors and Superheroes, and they run 5K 1 mile run. And I do the shows, did it every year except for my kidney transplant when I just got out the week before. And we interview the superheroes, and it's a half-hour show or an hour, and it's a great event and great sponsorships, great people there, and they raise the most money for the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Think about donating. Check out your time and events that they have. Next up, A2 on the thing. Want to shout out Amy at the bakery at Giant Eagle, Chuck McElroy, Chief that I worked for 36 years. Got to tell Chief, I ran into Bruce Grakowski Sr. Bruce Grakowski Jr. got inducted to the Western Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. I talked to young Bruce and his lovely wife, saw Big Bruce and his wife Debbie, who I went to Keystone Oaks with, and they were a couple years behind me. They liked hearing about me, and Bruce goes, "You still doing your show? Because Chief keeps reporting on you." I said, "Yeah, we're doing it live in the studio, and when we get out, we'll let you know when we get out on location, because he'd like to see us again." So that's what's going on there. And I gave A2 some time to get this. Another shout out to Pete Kasich for watching. Ralph Williams, who does many TV shows.
All right, Ralph.
On PCTV. And he's getting married May 21st. We're going to be going. Congrats on that. Dave Cable said better. So cameramen, A1 did better last week. A2's continue it. We're trying to upgrade what we're doing, folks. So we appreciate you watching and liking it. Jim Ellenbogen, he's watching. Hello. Ralph said, welcome back, Chip.
Thank you, Ralph. Good to be back.
And then Smoking Jim, the talking machine is a honey killer as well. Now he uses my media for the honeys to talk to him. Well, on that happy note, great Penn Hills basketball player, WVU basketball player. She should be inducted in the WPA Sports Hall of Fame. Monique McCoy asked me, could you take a picture with me? I go, why me and not Smoking Jim? She goes, you're here. I haven't seen you in a while. Let's get a picture. And I said, he's going to be jealous. She goes, that's okay.
See, I didn't like it.
I know.
And that's why you're not getting to the vote?
Yeah. All right, we got all these people here. Amy from the bakery lives in Bethel Park. Her power went out twice. So if you're still watching us, we appreciate you hanging in there, Amy. Thanks for being a fan. All right, this one up here is Always Be Smiling. The B stands for Bennett. Do we have that on close-up? I'm not seeing that. Oh, there it is. There's a glitch in our camera. Something happened to our power. Technology's great when it works. When it doesn't, I complain. All right, just like I have a question for Nick.
Yes.
You helped Smoking Jim with his Mac Pro,
I tried to.
and he spent $1,500, and he hasn't used it once.
I took 2 weeks off.
What do you think the problem is?
That he spent too much on a laptop he didn't need.
Okay. Appreciate your short and succinct comment. We'll leave it go. And he's still on vacation from computers. Always Be Smiling was created as a 501c3 by his great dad, Dean, and his mother, Kristen. Dean gave a kidney. Bennett, his name, he had many different disabilities, but he always was smiling, never quit, survived 2 kidney transplants, smiled till the day he died at 16 and a half, and they honor him and other kids with disabilities with the 501c3 they have. It's deductible. I sent out some more likes, and I noticed we hit 1,190 likes. When I first started sending out likes, they were in the 800s. So congratulations to all my friends for helping them out, liking their page, and maybe even donating some money for them doing their events throughout the year. Just a great group of people. Thank you. And that's what we like to do here, and I prefer that, helping others in our community. All right. Let's see, A2 again. He's doing a great job. Let's see what he can come up with. Amy gives an update. Penguins are playing the Rangers, 0 up. Look at this. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Thank you, A2. 2600 South Park Road, about 5 minutes away from here. Even Smoking Jim knows the area there. Reginald's Coffee's there. They have a great roaster right there in their place. They get worldwide different coffees that they roast there, and friends of mine who drink coffee, unlike me, I drink my green tea there and love it. They say their coffee's better than, no offense to Jonathan who works at Starbucks, but it beats them hands down. I've had 50 to 100, probably close to 100 friends now, even some that don't live in Bethel, and they go, hey, Al, you talk about Reginald's all the time. I go, Julian Matter, the greatest. They got treats there, donuts. Or Orem's Donuts they have there.
I like donuts.
I like treats.
Yeah, they got treats. You guys should stop in. On your busy journey, stop in. They're 5 minutes away. They're closed from 7 to 2 each day. Check it out. They got Wi-Fi for guys like Smoking Jim. All right.
You don't know how to use.
Yes, and he'll bring his non-working Mac Pro, which I don't like to talk down to him, but he did say, I didn't know Apple made Mac Pro.
Yeah, he thought it was a Mac Daddy.
No, here's what he actually thought. Chip, you know how he knows Bernie Mac? He thought Bernie Mac owned the Mac Pros. That's what he thought. He's learning. Now, it's a 1905 schoolhouse, been refurbished from top to bottom. They do great things there, have different events, have Army uniforms for men and women. They have all the yearbooks from Bethel Park there. They do events, a community foundation, auditoriums up there. I'm a trustee on the community foundation. We donated money to build that. All right, let's move on to the next. A2's on fire today. Let's see what happens here. Should I move it and test them?
No, hit the mark.
Look what he did.
Now my arm's gonna be in the
Nick,
shot.
you didn't believe him. Look what he did.
Holy cow.
You're out of it.
That's awesome.
Nick didn't want him to do it. A2 went to another level. Dave Cable likes to have some fun. Look at the close-up. That's my face on there. I want you for BPTV. I'm supposed to be Smoking Jim like Uncle Sam, a historical figure in America, a well-known icon, even more familiar than Smoking Jim Frazier. You can call 412-831-3304. Talk to our director, Dave Cable. And we just had Benicio come in from KO, and he may want to be a volunteer.
Let's go.
So that would add us another volunteer with our newest.
Waynesburg's on the board.
Not yet. He's still at KO. He's a senior. Hold back a little.
I'm anxious.
Couple months.
All right.
Couple months. And that way, Jonathan would actually have a little seniority on Benicio.
See, Nick's still euphoric over this Kenny Pickett pick.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it because we'll discuss that in a bit. All right. Next up, a lady needed a kidney, Kathleen Miller, and I know A2 is going to crush this. Get a nice picture of Kathleen. And I'll have to check on her. I haven't heard from her, and I know her kidney's getting worse. And she did find a donor who she can't tell us about, and she thinks they may have been watching this little promo that we've done each week since last year. So Kathleen Miller, when her kidney function gets down to what mine was, 15%, then she can get the living donor and she'll announce who it is. And I'm just so happy that she did find a living donor. They're much better for you health-wise, and I'm living proof of that, truly blessed. All right, last promo of the day. Dave Cable gave a disclaimer. There is no seniority at BPTV. We help each other out equally.
Love that.
And Dave, you always step right up, and that's why he runs the tight ship here at BPTV. I threw one oar over the side, but I had to pick it back up. Let's keep rowing. The Bethel Park Community Foundation.
You had the Pickett reference in there, huh?
Oh, yes. Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. And they have grant money, $100 to $5,000 that you can use for your group, helping make things better in Bethel Park. We've donated over $1 million in 26 years, and people in Bethel have been rewarded for that and help others here. You name the groups that have come there. There's dozens of them over the years. We also have scholarships for all you kids graduating. Check out the Community Foundation and scholarships. Andy Amrine, the local Handy Andy that owns EV Hardware, he's responsible for people donating tons of money for different scholarships. And we even have a scholarship here at the studio for people like Jonathan, A2, A1, Ryan, Nick. They can get scholarship money for furthering their education. Luckily, all these guys but Jonathan have graduated, so we're good to go. All right, we start with what's on your mind. Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got the
Wow.
C. Levine.
No! I fired a high, hard one.
That was a high, hard one.
That's George Pickens.
But I tell you
Oh.
what, man, we
That
want
is.
to.
He's a steal.
We want to definitely wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. It's coming up Sunday.
Happy Mother's Day.
I'm disappointed in everybody. Only me and Chip is representing our Pittsburgh Pirates. Chip made a good point before the show. He says the Pirates are fun to watch, and they don't quit. being beat 21-0 look like they quit to me on that one, Chip. But that's just one game.
Well, wait
That's
a
just
minute.
one game.
Well, wait a minute.
I'll give me
They won
permission to
3 out of
disclaim
4
that.
against Chicago.
But they quit. They
Hold
quit
it.
on that
They won
21.
3 out of 4.
Wait, time out.
Let Barry lead.
Time out. Time out. Go ahead, Nick.
I got a disclaimer.
Did they quit?
I don't know if you saw it, but he actually defended the Pirates last week for losing 21-0, saying it ends up being just one
Hey,
loss.
just
You
one
know what?
loss.
Yeah, you know what?
So
they
he's
lost by 3 touchdowns. Okay, but they won 3 out of 4 in the series.
no, but he said that last week, which was equally as shocking.
I'm a Pirate fan.
A2. Dave Cable said, "Where's the close-up on the large smoking Jim? We need a close-up on him." And with each of us, just so you guys know, we're doing something different to make it more flashy. Whoever's talking, the camera will be on them, and when we over-talk like we do on everybody and everything, then they're going to do a wide shot.
Okay.
So it'll be wide shot second, close-up. Just focus on me right now. And then you can go to Smokin' Jim Frazier one more time. And I just have to share why I still got the TV camera on me. He's not a pirate lover. He's a pirate hater. He wears the hat to emphasize the hate.
Well, I just want to give out.
Let him dispute it.
I just want to give out a quick grade for the Steeler draft. I thought Kenny Pickett was an excellent pick. One of the top quarterbacks in the draft. However, the AFC is stacked with quarterbacks, so at best, the Pittsburgh Steelers is middle of the pack as far as quarterbacks are concerned. Second pick, George Pickens. I don't know if he's a great receiver, but he likes to fight off the field. Often injured, 6'3", he can fly. How about a undersized defensive end out of Texas A&M, D. Marvin? We know that's a black guy with a name like that.
Disclaimer.
Do
Disclaimer.
you think he was white with a name D. Marvin?
Let me explain. I don't care what your name is.
Well, I'm just
You-
saying
you
for
could
the people,
just-
for
you
the
could-
people out there that may not know.
Well, here's what matters. He's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Maybe,
So he's a football player.
yeah.
And he got drafted by the Steelers.
Yeah, Martavis Bryant's brother. They got Kevin Hart. They got Kevin Hart in the 4th round, about a 5'2" receiver, but he's fast. Austin.
Dave Cable said, "There we go. Thank you, crew." I got to interrupt Smoking Jim on that. The TV should be on me. Where's that camera on me? No close-up. Okay, go to Smoking Jim.
5th round, no 5th
Thanks,
round
guys,
pick.
for putting up with me.
So
Very
we gotta,
good.
We got to give that an F.
What?
In the 6th round.
Did you say F?
With no 5th round pick. You got to give the 5th round an F. The 6th round, you got Connor Hayward. You already got T.J. Watt's brother. Why you got 2, siblings fighting it out? That was a wasted pick, in my opinion. They picked the undersized linebacker Mark Robinson from Ole Miss in the 7th. Their second 7th round pick. They got a rookie quarterback from South Dakota State. I have to give this draft a strong D-. And that's what's on my mind.
You never fail. And everybody, just a disclaimer.
Yeah, he
The
got it.
1974 draft, he gave that one a D- too.
And I just
Hall of Famer.
I just have to emphasize that Smoking Jim's not only a Steeler scout, supposedly, he's an NFL scout. And as long as I've known him on the show, over 10 and a half years, he's always given a D-. One time he made a mistake, and we thought it was a mistake. He gave a D, but he clarified it a few months later. It was a D-, and I think he did it 2 years in a row. But other than that, thank you, Smoking Jim. We're going to go to Chip Hayner. What's on your mind after your hiatus?
Oh, thank you, Alan, and it's great to be back, everybody. Number of different things on my mind, and I'm not going to get too into depth into any of them because hopefully we'll touch on some of them after
Our initial.
What's on my mind?
Yeah.
Penguins, 16th year in a row in the playoffs.
Way to go.
Could this be the swan song of the big 3?
Yes.
Evgeny Malkin does not have a contract for next year. Chris Letang does not have a contract for next year. And unfortunately, the Penguins are going to be a first-round exit from the playoffs this year for the 5th year in a row. Number 2, Pittsburgh Pirates are playing an exciting brand of baseball. If you love the game of baseball, tune in and watch the team.
There's the hater.
If you hate Bob Nutting, keep hating him and don't tune in.
He
okay?
does, yeah.
Next up, the Steeler draft. We're gonna touch on that. Is Kenny Pickens the next great savior of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I already disagree.
I don't think so, but we'll talk about that more. And finally, okay, with all this name, image, and likeness malarkey that's going on in college football,
Wow.
I think it's great that the athletes are now getting paid. But with no rules and no regulation, what people were afraid was going to happen is starting to happen now. Pitt lost their Biletnikoff winning wide receiver
Yeah.
to USC because they negotiated a higher NIL
$3
before
million.
he was even in the transfer portal, which is against the rules. But of course, there's going to be an investigation. And knowing that Mark Emmert, the head of the NCAA, is conducting the investigation, I'm going to sleep pretty well on that one. But they need to get some kind of rules and regulations in place. Otherwise, the college football is going to turn
Chip,
into the wild
I got to
west.
make a point. When you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you're supposed to have some type of general rules. They put these things out with disciplining players, and if they like a guy, he doesn't get
But
disciplined.
there's
And it's the same thing with the NCAA. That how can you not expect corruption?
because this is the rich are just going to get richer, and it's going to hurt college football as a whole. I believe, so there has to be some way of regulating this. There's got to be some kind of protocols. There are none right now, and subsequently, you're going to see the top 5 teams every year because they can afford to pay them the most.
Right.
So guys are going to be transferring. They have a good year at one school. Hey, call up Alabama. How much? Okay, boom. I'm in the
Yeah.
transfer portal. I'm done.
Yeah,
So-
but Chip, how do we know that that's wrong to have no rules? Why wouldn't they do it? That's my question. Why
like
wouldn't you do it?
Just like everything else the NCAA has done, never a well thought out plan.
Great point, Chip. And in between that, Dave Cable's on fire tonight. This is a Pittsburgh Sports Line first. Have to agree with Jim. I got to take a deep breath.
We are short of cable.
Why waste a draft pick on a practice squad quarterback?
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave.
Dave knows sports, in case you didn't know.
His son does too.
I know. He's been studying it 24/7.
Homeschool.
No, he still goes to school. You know his example of why he goes to school?
You Sports Center. You can watch Sports
No,
Center. at
no. He
home.
has a photo of Smoking Jim at the top of his bed. One big picture of that smiling face. I got inside knowledge. All right, we're going to Nick Callis. What's on your mind?
Well, speaking of Mother's Day, I'll give a shout out to my mother while I'm on the air. Nice lady,
Beautiful lady.
watching right now, as is some of my family, including my sister's boyfriend, Cedar. He's still in town. Yeah,
Is he a mother?
no.
Okay.
But
just
he wanted a
asking.
shout out, and he's
He
only
could
in
be.
town for the weekend.
You
I won't-
emphasized mother, so I wasn't sure.
My bad.
Okay.
He's not a mother. He's a nice man, though.
I allowed that because you're
I
a
don't-
KO alum.
yeah, and I only get
We
to
stick together.
This is the last time I see him and my sister till August.
Where are they
coming up,
going?
So they live in Texas now. So
I
they don't
just
live in
wanted to
PA.
clarify.
Yeah, so they
Thank
live
you.
out of state. So sports related. So we got Kenny Pickett got drafted, and I'm so happy. And Smokey Jim and I were on the right side of the table. He got drafted. Prediction correct. Nick on fire. I'm really happy about it. I think he'll be. I'm not gonna go out and say savior. I'm just happy right now that I got the prediction correct because I knew what the Steel. I have a sense of what they're gonna do and what picks they're gonna make, and I feel like quarterback might not have been everybody's thoughts of like what would have been the first pick for the Steelers, but for the Steelers internally, it's fan service because he played for Pitt. He's familiar with the facilities in the city, and it just gives him a slight advantage over somebody else who hasn't been here getting drafted and being on the team. Because that subtle stuff that we don't think about on the field, I believe, matters. To answer Smoke and Jim's question of why they drafted a quarterback who might play for the practice squad, I've heard some rumors that they might just go ahead and axe Rudolph from the roster and then just have this guy as the third quarterback. I personally think they should still take 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Just have one in the practice squad just in case, and then have 3 active. But I've heard swirling rumors that
Where do you hear
Rudolph's
these
gonna get
rumors
released.
at? I got to ask.
well, I got some insiders at this radio station that I
The fan.
work for.
Well, yeah,
The fan.
So the run rumor I heard was from Jerry Dulac, okay, who's a Pittsburgh
Insider.
insider. And you know what his inside information was in the
I can't
in the
wait.
draft? There was no quarterback in the draft that the Steelers desired to have more than any others than Malik Willis. And if he was on the board when the Steelers drafted, that they were going to draft him.
But here's my
So-
question. Here's my question
So
for Chip.
Jerry D, I don't think you're such a good source.
Here's my question for Chip. Who did Nick say the Steelers were going to draft?
You know
Who
what?
did
I gave
Nick
you
say?
your
I
promise.
don't care about Jerry Dulac, man.
Yeah.
Nick said the Steelers were going to draft Kenny Pickett. There you go.
Nick, I got a couple questions since you said you're in the head of the Steelers. And shout out to Victor Olive for watching our show,
All
our
right,
good
man.
friend
Oh,
Vic.
man.
Thanks for watching our show. Here, Dave Cable asked both you and Nick,
What's that?
you don't think they could have picked him up after the draft? No. Last quarterback they drafted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Great
not,
point, Dave.
that's- that-
Second time tonight, you're on double fire.
I agree with that. All right, I'll concede to that point.
And
That's a good point.
here's what I want to know. I got to go back like
draft.
13 years
Yep.
since we won our Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been in the head of Art Rooney II and the Steelers?
For like 2 years now or so. I don't
Okay,
know.
because we needed you 11 years ago.
I mean,
'Cause how can a multi-billion-dollar corporation with players like they have and coaches like they have, what did we win? One playoff game? In
No,
that-
I know, that's
in
tough.
that time frame.
But,
I'm,
like,
I'm
I-
not down on the Steelers. I'm pro Steelers. I just remember Dan Rooney and what he provided to do, even though his dad would have disagreed with him. Art Rooney's not even in that category, nor is our team.
See, I try to
I want to know what your
I try to give predictions, I try to think what do I think the Steelers are going to do. I don't always agree with the moves they make, and clearly they're not winning anything in recent years. So like that's tough.
Do you get paid to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, but they get paid more to do it. So you just made them look worse.
All right.
You're making it worse for the Steelers,
I'm not trying to. I just try to.
in my opinion.
I
though.
try to predict what they're going to do, and I thought that Kenny Pickett was like a choice for many factors, and from what information I was receiving from people on the inside, that they were going to draft him, and I like that they did, and I got it right.
I agree with Nick. It's time to get rid of that coach.
When did Nick say
Did that did that factor into your grade you gave them for the draft?
Did you say the coach?
No, I didn't say anything about the coach.
Smoking Jim.
You've been saying that since 2007.
Yeah, and they won a Super Bowl.
You've been saying that since 2007.
Hey, Chip. Chief said, "Welcome back, Chipper."
Chief, thank you.
All right, Nick, you did very well on your segment there. What's on your mind? Thanks for clarifying a couple points. And Smoking Jim agreed with you again. Disclaimer on him.
I don't know how I feel about that yet.
You didn't say a coach that
No.
they should get rid of.
No, I never said that.
So I'll ask you out there, should we do a disclaimer for missing what Nick even said? Because I'm getting tired of these disclaimers in the first half of the show. All right, I got to figure out something. Penguins are losing 1-0. Here's my take on it. 16 years in a row, I'm about the Pens. Love how they run their business, how they've kept a core group of 3 players. And they even had a 4th, Rusty, there, who's going to break the bank when he gets a new contract and won't be here most likely. But this could be the swan song for the big 3 that we have. Letang, Crosby, I could see them staying. Malkin, you notice at certain times he's even worse than he was when he would go in a fog. And he only shows that playing the Ritz every so often. and his mistakes and fights, I don't see it getting him any further along with the Penguins and where he is unless he gives a substantial hometown discount. I don't see him being here next year, and I love Malkin. I've loved him ever since he's been here and what he's done and what he provides and how he's had to carry the team on his back when Sid has been injured and vice versa with Sid carrying the team. Except for one thing, Sid's gotten to be a 200-foot hockey player. Smoking Jim, that means he plays defense and offense. And he didn't want to be like Ovechkin, who's a one-trick pony. Throw the puck to him on the right side of the goaltender, he scores. If you ask him to help a player out, a team, or fight, he's nowhere to be seen. And he may break the scoring record. And Smoking Jim will go for a front runner who's not a Penguin.
He'll break the goal record, not
Goal,
the
yes,
scoring record.
yeah, I stand
'Cause
corrected.
he's not an assist machine.
Right. Great point. I misspoke on that, but that would be the greatest goal scorer. And Smoking Jim's like all the women in baseball. They love the long ball. And we'll be back with some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac in 10 seconds.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. I'll go real quick. I just wanted to
No,
say
take your time.
some of the guys that I wanted the Steelers to look at, just say where they went. Tight end from Colorado State, Trey McBride, went in the second round to the Arizona Cardinals. Malik Willis, outstanding quarterback, went in the third round to the Tennessee Titans. I think that's a good fit for them.
What round did you say?
He went in the third round.
And I remember a show when Chip wasn't on here. You were highly recommending first-round pick. How could 32 owners not listen to your advice?
Well, same way they did. What's that quarterback from Seattle that's in Denver?
Russell Wilson.
I said he was the highest-rated quarterback I had since Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson didn't go into the third round, too. So the NFL
Oh, I
gets
got
it
another
wrong
question.
sometimes.
So, do you
And
mean
it's
they're
a good thing you don't.
do you mean they're right or they're wrong as billionaires? Think about it.
They made a mistake.
That's
with
like
this
saying
kid.
Bitcoin to him. You got them all confused.
I apologize.
But
No disclaimer on that.
a tight end that I really like, Isaiah Likely, black guy.
What did you say
fourth-
his name is?
Isaiah Likely.
Okay.
Went in the fourth round to the Ravens. That's going to be a nightmare for us. Offensive tackle that I love, Trevor Penning, went in the first round. One pick before the Steelers to the New Orleans Saints. And I tell you what, all in all, it was a pretty interesting draft. I think that this was a deeper draft than the experts gave. I thought it was an excellent draft. Everybody said it was a weak draft, but I think these guys are going to prove out that it was a very good draft this year.
Well, Smoking Jim, since you're our resident NFL scout, I have to question this.
Yes,
They
sir.
said it was one of the worst years for quarterbacks in college history, really.
I tell you what, I'll take
it was
the
a
guy.
weak quarterback draft.
I'll take
In
the
your
guy-
opinion,
I'll take
I'm
the guy
asking
from,
him.
I'll take the guy from Ole Miss and the guy from North Carolina. They're tough.
How does that count towards some of the other better drafts with
I'll tell you
quarterbacks
a
going?
white guy that I like from Nevada,
Pardon me?
Carson Strong. And Carson Strong was an excellent quarterback. Nobody gave him he went as a walk-on somewhere. The guy got a powerful arm, man. He should have been a first-round pick. So the
you
scouts got
don't,
it wrong.
in your opinion, I'm trying to figure this out for our fans and myself. You don't consider it a weak quarterback draft.
No.
You never do.
No.
You never do.
Pardon me?
You never do consider it a weak draft.
I haven't seen one yet.
That's my point. I rest my case. I will not play lawyer with Smoking Jim.
You thought Baker Mayfield was a great pick.
Great. Woo,
How
winner.
come,
They can't give him away now.
you know, I hate wasting these
32
questions.
teams, nobody's interested in him.
Chip, you just stole my question for Smoking Jim.
32 teams, nobody wants him.
You saved my voice again. And look, his silence is golden. I hear crickets. more.
I just remember him coming here and beating the Steelers in the playoffs.
How hard is that?
Mm-hmm.
You said playoffs.
It's a shame nobody in Cleveland does.
Ouchie.
Ooh. All right, Bill Means is watching now.
My man.
Chief said, I like Kenny Pickett, but not as a first-round pick.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Chief.
Did you say that?
Um,
You didn't say that.
no, I'm just saying.
You're happy with that pick. What? I can't even understand what he's talking about. Tony from Chick-fil-A said, another wasted pick was getting another fullback when we need more defensive help on the line. Tony's on fire from Chick-fil-A.
Good job, Tony.
Great observation. We saw him last week, talked to him, and he said, boy, that Smoking Jim is something.
Well, I think Coach Tomlin's setting it up to draft his son next year after he sat the bench for 4 years.
Hold it, I heard he left Maryland.
Yeah, he's at Boston College. Like
How
he's
did
gonna
he
play
go?
there.
How did he go in the transfer portal?
He's a Tomlin.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. All right, we're going to go to trivia time with Chip Hayner in 10 seconds.
History was made 2 Saturdays ago in Major League Baseball because a certain gentleman became an exclusive and only member of a club that nobody else is in Major League Baseball. I want to congratulate Miguel Cabrera for his 3,000th hit. And he becomes one of 7 players now who have 3,000 hits in his career and 500 home runs.
Wow.
Okay.
Welcome back, Chip.
Cabrera's 3,000th hit was his 2,158 with the Detroit Tigers, where he spent the last 15 seasons. While with the Tigers, Cabrera has tallied 2 MVPs, a Triple Crown, 4 batting titles, and 7 All-Star nods. He also won the 2003 World Series with the Florida Marlins. While Cabrera having reached another tier of greatness, here's a look at the other members of the 3,000 hit, 500 home run club.
It's amazing.
Hank Aaron, number 1. Now, Hank Aaron, if you subtract the 755 home runs from Hank Aaron's hit total, he still has over 3,000 hits.
Wow, that's impressive.
One of the greatest players to ever play the game, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays.
Yeah.
Next up, Steady Eddie Murray of the Baltimore Orioles.
You know he was born in the same year as me?
Who's Steady Eddie?
Next up, a steroid abuser, Rafael Palmeiro.
Yeah.
And a person whose steroid use was always questionable, Albert Pujols, who is soon to
Great
retire
point.
this year.
And he's back in St. Louis.
Next up on the list, the poster child of steroid abuse, a fraud, Alex Rodriguez. And so there you go. There are your 7 players with Miguel Cabrera. Now the exclusive club that Miguel Cabrera is in, that nobody else is in, nobody has ever done this in the history of Major League Baseball. He's had 3,000 hits. He's had 5,000 home runs. He's won 2 MVPs.
No, 500 home runs.
500 home runs. He's won a Triple Crown.
Ooh.
Okay, he's the
That
only
puts you in another
Major
category.
League player to accomplish all of those feats in his career. In over 150 years of baseball, nobody has ever done that. Congratulations, Miguel Cabrera.
And you know what warms my heart the most? Cabrera and many of those other players on that list are designated hitters.
He wasn't a designated hitter all his own.
No, but he
Thank
is
you
now.
for reminding me, because I forgot to mention earlier in this show
Zing.
I hate the DH. Thank you.
He's probably one of the first superstars that they got rid of him from his previous team in his prime. You don't usually see that.
The Marlins were blowing it up.
I gotta
God,
mark it
Smoking
down.
Jim.
I got to mark it down just a little.
The Marlins blew up championship baseball teams and rebuilt like the Steelers
They
never.
did it twice, right?
They-
To the
Sounds like an
97 World
excuse.
Series?
No, just like the Steelers never rebuild. I don't know what they're doing this year, but
The Marlins are a weird
Smells like
situation.
one.
They're a weird situation.
yeah,
the
they blew
Marlins.
it up twice.
They blew it up twice, and they still can't put fannies in the seat.
Right. Well, it's tough down there. Chip, I learned something at the Western Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. Shout out to Bill Kai. He asked me about putting Smoking Jim on as a delegate. I said, sure. He goes, can he help me with MMA, boxing? Sure he can't. So, so we're there, and so then Sean Gibson's there, and he's a great grandson of Josh Gibson.
Yeah.
And how about he gave a great speech, Chip? He told about, how they're putting the records from the Negro Leagues into the Sports Hall of Fame. I think it was in 2010 or something. And they're putting all their records in. I never knew this or heard this. Josh Gibson, not only did he hit the longest home run, Chip, in Yankee Stadium, Babe Ruth hit one 575 feet. Josh Gibson was playing there. They measured it at 585, but because of racism, they think it was over 600.
Wow.
Then he was in a ballpark that was verified at 700 feet. He had a home run to the farthest point in there. I forget what city, 700 feet. Yeah. Here's what blows my mind, Chip. He said Josh Gibson batted .464 in 1 year. Yeah. That'll now be the new major league record in baseball. A .464 average.
The problem with the accomplishments of what happened in the Negro League, and they should be recognized.
I just wanted your insight.
Is that the records were so incomplete. The statistics are hard to find, and there's no real.
Well, he addressed that. He addressed that issue, and what he said is the Negro Leagues couldn't compare to Major League Baseball, which is stats-centric. Everything they do, they document. Smoking Jim doesn't understand the figures, but they document everything. The Negro Leagues didn't have a setup like that, but the records that they did have were verified from people with teams and did keep certain records on it. Not as extensive as Major League Baseball, but that record will be in there because it was verified under their guidelines.
That's good stuff.
But I knew you'd bring it up because I brought it up to Sean, and he may be a future guest on my Talking Machine show.
That Negro just rolls off your tongue real good, brother.
Shout out to Jack Maine and Smoking Jim. You're fine. We're going to Nick Callis, VIP, in 10 seconds.
What are we talking about? Sports. Okay.
VIP time.
Got it. All right. So I'll give a little kind of grade that I have on the Steelers draft.
This is Pittsburgh Sports Line first. No competition with Smoking Jim. This is his own.
It's not a D minus. Listen.
No, just say it.
Yeah. I'll give them a B plus because I think that there are certain picks I think they could have made better. And as I continue to think about it, the quarterback that they drafted that wasn't Kenny Pickett wasn't great. I mean, it was fine. I mean, you could put him on the roster, but
An assist from Dave Cable knocked it from A to B minus.
Yeah. So
just clarifying it for Pittsburgh Sports Line fans.
Yeah.
Keeping records here.
And I think that the Steelers going and getting a good chunk of wide receivers is like every team did this draft was a good idea. I talked about the economics of the NFL a few weeks ago, and you got quarterbacks who are starting to get guaranteed money in the triple digit. B plus a 7th round quarterback.
Dave Cable, B plus.
Yeah.
7th round QB. He's triple fired up tonight, folks. Dave Cable.
Okay. But so the economics of the NFL are that these players are getting these triple digit million guaranteed contracts, and you don't typically see guaranteed contracts in the NFL. Now they're starting to become more common because Deshaun Watson set the bar. And now the trend...
Didn't you say that months ago?
I did. So I'm repeating, just for clarity, that now that pattern is starting to trickle into the wide receiver market.
You predicted it.
It's starting to trickle into the wide receiver market. So why so many wide receivers went out first? And I thought there were going to be at least one quarterback picked before Pickett, and pick number 20 because I do believe some of those earlier teams needed quarterbacks. But getting wide receivers is important because now that the more established wide receivers are trying to get
Maximum
they're established,
money.
and the market is rising for prices of wide receivers, that these teams want to ship off whoever established wide receivers that they have if they're trying to rebuild. I think the Steelers are one of those teams where they need a new wide receiver core, but ship off the expensive wide receivers to teams who are willing to pay for them, who are at the pinnacle of what they're trying to get to, which is a championship, and then draft wide receivers who are unproven talent so you can get them at a cheaper cost, and then worry about recompense later on. You know what that word means? I just realized.
I don't know, but I'm following you.
Ah,
good.
okay,
You're
I
making
was-
good sense.
I'll pull the
so-
dictionary out, but we know it doesn't help.
No, okay, but yeah. So I think that the Steelers did a good job just stacking up some wide receivers who have good 40 times and are perceived to be fast. And Pickett at the top was the icing on the cake. Again, fan service. I think he's talented. And the Steelers have insurance now too, because they signed Trubisky, who's still an unproven talent. I'd say had
Hold
some.
it, one interruption.
Yes.
If you got signed for a 2-year contract to compete, and now they get a first-round pick, how happy would you be? Just saying.
Well,
Just saying. Think about it.
Trubis-
You're talking money.
No, but and I hear this a lot. But here's what the thing was: he came to Pittsburgh because he's got a chance to compete for a starting quarterback position on an NFL football team. That has not changed. Okay,
I agree.
Kenny Pickett is not going to be handed the keys to the, to the fast sports car. I like the idea that there's going to be 4 quarterbacks that are competing for the position, and may the best one win.
Hopefully
I
it's
don't know
a-
who it's going to be.
Yeah, but hopefully it's a competition.
But well, it has to be.
Well, that
Because I
echoed.
can tell you what, right now, not a single one of them is a proven NFL commodity. Kenny Pickett played great. How many great college quarterbacks have failed miserably in the NFL? Let me name one.
And that's
Baker Mayfield.
and that's
Yeah,
And
but
that's kind of-
Chip. You've
well,
been
that's-
echoing what I've been saying for weeks
No,
while
that's-
you were gone. Same type of mentality.
But-
And I got to differ with you a little bit with Trubisky. He did have a couple good years,
he
and
made,
he's only 27.
See, to be honest with you, I felt that the Steelers draft was lacking in the fact that they didn't put enough new young talent on the defense. Okay, because I think they need the Steelers need a game manager
time out.
and a strong defense.
Wait.
And they can compete. In
Time
our
out.
division.
Time out. I don't care about the defense right now. I'm talking the quarterback situation. And when we talk about the quarterback situation, I agree with Chip's points there that Kenny Pickett's not proven, and there are several factors that make it seem like he might not succeed. So you get Trubisky, who's an unproven talent, who's had some flashes of brilliance, but has also struggled and most recently became a backup. So when you have that line of players who can compete in training
Yeah, but
camp,
explain
and
who
then
he was a backup to.
the Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
How
So-
could you get ahead of him?
You can't. So, but he
Thank
has
you.
a chance. He has a chance at Pittsburgh, and that's my point. The Steelers, there's a very slim percentage of a chance that they will fail at the quarterback position this year because they've invested a good chunk of their resources into getting quarterbacks who I don't know which one's going to be, but one of them has a good chance to
Can
make
you
it.
rule out the 7th round pick?
Yes.
Okay.
But see,
So
you know,
there's
but-
three.
but
Yes.
to
There's
speak-
three.
To speak to your point, Nick, I mean, instead of investing $40 million on a washed-up has-been of a quarterback, okay, they brought in a bunch of young guys, and I felt they would have been better served investing the money on the defense, because the only way I think to compete in the AFC North, okay, you're not going to compete against the quality of the quarterbacks that are in our division. So if you can't match them quarterback play by quarterback play, then what you do is you should have a shutdown defense. Okay, and that's where I think a game manager is really all the Steelers really need to continue to be successful.
Well, all I know is that last year in the AFC North, one of these things was not like the other in the quarterbacks, and they fixed that problem.
Okay. Well, I'll just go back. So, proving Chip's point, Peyton Manning couldn't throw his last year in football. He played for Denver. And
Didn't they have the number one defense?
yeah, I was just going to go. Memory holds correct, like Chip brought out, because we think the same on that. They had the number one defense, and all he had to do is not make errors. So if the Steelers get a quarterback like that Chip's talking, my point was, and I'm going to ignore my on location, that we'll just talk Steelers. My thing was, how about the offensive line? The rinky-dink players that they picked up, I don't know if they can congeal as an offensive line.
And they still may be able to pick up somebody in free agency.
That's my point to this.
Moving on. But, looking at the way the draft fell, I mean, really, all of the top defensive players were probably taken within the first 10 picks.
Oh, yeah.
With the exception of a couple of wide receivers. I would love to have seen them got one of those monster defensive linemen out of the University of Georgia.
I'm with
but
you.
They got teams, because the quarterback class was so low this year.
It was
the
weak.
people went after the best available athlete. So actually, the Steelers taking Kenny Pickett, considering what was taken before him, it actually makes a little bit of sense. I mean,
In a roundabout way. No, in a roundabout way.
Not that I
does.
think he's the savior of the franchise, but taking him at number 20 because he was there, what did you really lose by picking him at number 20? You didn't give up on one of the great defensive players that were already off the board.
Well, let me give you my theory on why they even took Pickett. Ty Polk, my good friend, moving up in the announcing careers. He's just great. Got to talk to him at the WPA Sports Hall of Fame. And Chief says Smoke would have been a first rounder, but what year? Chief, you're on fire.
Chief, you are the best.
Yeah, and here's my little insight on Kenny Pickett. The Steelers regretted not drafting Dan Marino. That was like all the gossip about it, but there were rumors about him. And they say that the Steelers in general, Dan Rooney regretted that he didn't. No, I know. No, I know that. I know the story. But here's what I'm getting to, the mentality that Nick's in there for the last 2 years. Dan Rooney was great, and if he regretted it, then his poor son, who's not the brightest guy in running the team, he would think, I don't want to lose a guy from Pitt who they're comparing to Danny Marino, but I don't want to offend any of the women watching, but we have to wear jock straps. Kenny Pickett couldn't hold Dan Marino's jock strap. And the reason they're doing it is, and I told a guy who had this discussion with me, I said, you remember Art Rooney didn't pick Johnny Unitas, and look what happened. So we have Kenny Pickett in the backyard on the facilities. Just think like this if you want to speculate. How about Carolina grabs him? How about Carolina gets to the playoffs with Kenny Pickett? What do you think the media, Chip, would be doing here? How could the Rooneys pass up on Kenny Pickett? So with the small brain leading us for the last 13 years at least after our Super Bowl, that's why I think we picked it. Pickett.
I respectfully disagree with that point of view, but we're all entitled to them.
Well, my point is, what I base it on is not the intelligence of it, the lack of intelligence and looking ahead.
And I agree with you 100%. I compare Kenny Pickett in my draft report. I compared him to Mac Jones, both 6'3".
Now the truth is coming out.
And I think Mac Jones did a good job for New England. And I think if Kenny can do equally as well, like you said, Chip, get the running game going in the defense, we should be okay.
And you know
Well,
what?
we're gonna have
I'm wrong.
to. Yeah.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong about Kenny Pickett. I hope he's successful.
His fiance is good looking. Oof.
Well, I hope he does well.
Have mercy.
I hope he does well, and I am wrong, but I'm going small-minded on how the Steelers have been operating for the last 10 years. And with that happy note, go Steelers, go Penguins. Please stay Joey strong.